Hey guys, I'm John, and in this video we're going to find out how ace I think this is. So guys, in this video what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about this brand new 4K release of Zack Snyder's Justice League. So this is dropped through today, and I've had a HMV exclusive Steelbook because when this film released for streaming I really enjoyed it, and I just saw the Steelbook and thought, gotta have that Steelbook. I mean, how easy is that Steelbook? We will go through the Steelbook in a minute, but I'll just run through the film itself. So, Zack Snyder's Justice League is the actual proper version of what should have been this. Okay? So this is what came out 2017, so this came out 4 years ago. And due to some personal issues during the production, Zack Snyder had to pull out of the filming. Warner Brothers then pulled in Joss Whedon, and he then just mutilated it pretty much. He delivered what is now this. And the only good thing for this is, well, that. By Joss Whedon's Justice League. All we need is this. All we need is Zack Snyder's version. Okay? So, when Joss Whedon took over, he somehow decided to look at what Zack had done and then go, yeah, that bit's awesome. We're not doing that. We're going to do this. And that bit's awesome. And we're not going to do that. We're going to do this. It was like he was embarrassed by how good Zack Snyder's Justice League was and thought, yeah, just going to make me look bad as a director. And then he just released whatever that was. It just flown away like a bad smell. And it's such a shame. I like Joss Whedon. What he did with Avengers Assemble was incredible, and I am a massive Buffy fan. So what he created there, yeah man, he's awesome. Do you know what I mean? But what he did with Justice League was appalling. So I'm so glad that the fans petitioned to have Zack Snyder come back and realise his true vision of what he wanted for Justice League. Now, I don't believe that if this film released in 2017 and in its current format of the 4-hour version, that it would have done as well. I think due to sort of fan demand and it being released just to please us fans, I think that's how it works. And to release it on streaming platforms, I think was a great idea. I'm glad they didn't go with the initial idea of 4 1-hour releases and just release it as a whole film. I'm so glad they did that. And I just think that to release it that way, because it's what people wanted, the audience is more likely to sit down and sit through 4 hours worth of film. Now, I know some films release with like long running times. I mean, Avengers Endgame was like 3 hours long, and things like the Lord of the Rings, even the Godfather films, they're on forever. But people will sit and watch them. Do you know what I mean? But I think for something like this, it was well deserved how it was released. And when I did watch it, I was very impressed with it. I thought it was very good. I think as a whole, it just expands so much of what was teased in the original theatrical release. In that one, everything was very rushed and gone through, and in this version, everybody gets the time to shine. The story really develops. You really understand what's going on more, and I think the addition to Darkseid in this was a great decision. Rather than having Steppenwolf be the main antagonist in it, I thought having Darkseid actually appear in it was really good. Steppenwolf was so much better in this. He had better motives as well, rather than just, we need a bad guy, that guy will do. In this one, he has a motive. He's trying to appease Darkseid for something he's done wrong. He just wants to be seen well in his master's eyes again. I sort of like that arc of how he was trying to sort of redeem himself. And then every other character in it, like the main Justice League, all get the time to shine. And there's a lot more focus and spotlight on Flash and Cyborg. And in this one, they really sort of build those characters to be more than what they were in the other one. In the original one, Flash was nothing more than comic relief. He was just there more to just crack jokes than anything else. Whereas in this one, he just develops more as a character. You see how he's the shy kid that just wants acceptance, wants friends, and it explores that side of him a bit more. And it was just, I preferred how they did that, how they managed him. And then Cyborg was just, the Cyborg storyline that is explored in Zack Snyder's vision is just amazing. Cyborg, I really felt for him, and how his backstory is more explained. You see how he became Cyborg properly, what caused the accident, and all the things leading up to it, and then how he sort of develops his skills and how he learns to utilize all the powers he now has, and and he has that sort of moral dilemma of, can I use it for good or bad? And it's up to him how he uses it. And obviously, he's a good guy, so he uses it for good. And it's just really good. And he sort of, in a sense, he sort of grounds the whole film. He's sort of the anchor point for all of it, and everything spans from that. And it was really well done. And I was so impressed by the fact that they included it back. He was just, I don't know, in the original release, in the theatrical release, he was just a fleeting character. I think he just felt like he was there to just add numbers and just say, oh, Starbucks in a film. And that was all he was. He didn't do anything else. Whereas in Zack Snyder's version, he really is a worthwhile addition and deserves to be there. And Ray Fisher does an absolutely amazing job of capturing him. It is really good. And on the whole, this version of Justice League has now gone from a 12 certificate here in the UK to a 15 due to the violence of it, which is what is needed. Okay, it's a very dark film, do you know what I mean? It's very dark and broody, and it's like, end of the world kind of stuff, and it needs that sort of grim to it, and there's a lot more blood in it, and it just fits, man. It's just really good. I was really impressed with it when I first watched it. I was like, whoa, they're going down this direction. And it was really good. And I just hope that going forward that Warner Brothers release more films with this sort of tone and just don't try to compete with Marvel. And because they're just never going to win, are they really? Marvel have won that, You might as well just wave a white flag on that front, DC ad. But I think if they go more for like these films that have a slightly more mature content, and then they can aim for a more mature audience, and maybe it'll sort of appeal more, and that can be their sort of thing. Because, in the comics, DC is a lot darker, so it's nice to see the films reflecting that tone. So with Justice League, I think they did take a very big step in the right direction. So taking a look at the Steelbook now. So I really love this cover. That cover is just awesome. Look at that. It's just, you see all 6 members, pointing skyward, raising either the weapons or the fists, and it's just really cool. I just love how it all is there. I also love the colour tone of it. It's really cool. Moving around the side, and the back here, rather. Don't know if it's side from my backside here. We have one of the mother boxes, which is really cool, because obviously they're one of the main key sort of factors of how the story drives along. The only thing I will say is we only have one mother box. I really wish they'd put the 3 on there, maybe forming the unity as it does. I think that would have been really good. But I'm happy with just having that mother box. It's cool. Opening it up. So inside, that's what we get inside. Okay, so we get a little info book here. It tells us that The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson, is coming out next year, and that The Suicide Squad by James Gunn is coming out this year. Okay. Inside, we just have a few bits about other things available from Warner Brothers, and obviously the 2 prior films to this of Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, the Ultimate Edition. And then on the back of it, we have some information about some games. So we have Can't remember what it's called. There you go. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, which is the new game from Rocksteady, which is out next year, and Gotham Knights, which is out next year as well. I need a PS5 or an Xbox Series X before I can get that, but they're like rocking horse crap at the minute, so that's not going to happen. So inside here we have 2 discs. Okay, so we have 2 4K discs. So there's no Blu-rays in this, it is just 4K discs. Okay, so we have 2. Not that I can get them out, but we'll have a go. There we go, we managed it. So we have disc 1 and disc 2. Okay, so the movie is actually split over both discs, which I'm both sort of happy and sad about. I'm happy about it because it gives you a higher quality resolution, because obviously then the file is only stretched so far, so they split it and it's not compressed too much that it sort of goes negative against what the transfer is trying to achieve. So that's a really good thing. But then the bad point is I've got to get up halfway through for just change the disc. But I could also consider that a time to make a brew, grab a beer and take a pee, so that's always a bonus. And now inside, there we go, you guys can see that. We have the Justice League, just before Superman joins them, all gearing up, ready to go and fight Steppenwolf, which is pretty cool there, guys. So that's a look at the Steelbook, which I think is an awesome Steelbook. I really do have a soft spot for a Steelbook. I just can't help it, even if something's really bad. As long as it's got a cool Steelbook, I'll go for it. But that's not the case with this, because this is awesome. And the Steelbook's awesome. I really like it. It's very minimalistic, but it's just really, really eye-catching. It's very iconic how it's done, and I think it's an awesome, worthy addition to my collection of Steelbooks. Now, obviously, when you get this, you'll also have this attached to it, which looks a bit like that. I can't be dealing with these plastic paper jobbies. So, and this just gives you a bit of rundown of the specs of it and what's on it, and the fact that we just get one special feature: the Road to the Justice League. Excellent. One thing I will say about this release is there's also a black and white version of this Justice League knocking about. It is here in the UK on Sky. Both versions are on Sky, and in America I imagine it's on HBO Max. Unfortunately in the UK we can't get HBO Max, so yay for us. But both versions are on there. I really was expecting that both versions would have been on here. We've had releases before, like Mad Max Fury Road came out with the normal and the black and white version. I've got that one, and Logan, when that release, came out with both, Logan and Logan Noir. And I was really expecting when this came that it would have both versions. And when I saw there was 2 discs, I thought, ooh, maybe. And then I started watching it, and it's not that. So that's the only thing I'm a little disappointed by. The completionist in me would like all of that. Whether or not that will get a physical release, who knows. But I am happy that I've got Justice League on 4K and in a Steelbook. So apart from that, I am really happy. So moving on to the actual 4K now. So I have sat down, and when it came I watched it. So yes, this is the 3rd time I've watched this film. Before I've watched it just in HD when I've streamed it. But actually getting the 4K disc, I was really excited for this, just to see what they've done with it. And I have to say, I'm not disappointed. The 4K transfer was incredible, especially the HDR. The HDR on this release was just insane. Now, it's not the best 4K disc I've got. It's certainly not the best 4K disc out there. It's not something that is sort of a demo disc that you can call all your mates around and go, this is why you need 4K. It's not quite up there with that sort of standard, but it is a good transfer. Like I say, the HDR on it is exceptional. I was really impressed with the HDR. When everything's going, everything's shining, it really goes. Like when Wonder Woman's using the lasso, the brightness from that really sort of pops, where Flash is running, and the lightning that strikes around him is just glowing everywhere, and it's really bright, and it really stands out, and it sort of, the shadows it casts, it really shows them really well. It is a very dark film. The HDR does add that, so you've got a clearer vision of everything that's going on. So I was really impressed with the HDR. Really, really impressed with it. Now, one thing I did find is sometimes when they're on the inside, so on interior locations, the 4K was incredible. It was really good. So everybody's faces was really clear. It had so much detail and definition. The areas around them was really, really good. And it was really nice, really clear, really crisp image. But then when they moved to some exterior locations, I don't know why, but the quality seemed to dip. So I don't know why. So, an example, near the beginning of the film, when we first introduced to Wonder Woman, and she stops the terrorists who are just trying to blow everybody up because they're just a bunch of nutters. When it cuts to sort of, when you first see Wonder Woman standing on the roof, and she's standing on a statue standing there, like, she looks really good, the statue looks really good, but then, like, the background was really grainy, and just didn't look clear at all, and I was a bit, really? I was like, transfer's not looking great at the minute. And there was a couple of other locations where when they were outside, the backgrounds just didn't quite match the foreground. Now, I don't know whether that was like sort of post-production. They were just like, nobody looks at the background. I don't know, but it just didn't pop like the rest of it did. But then when, like, say they move inside and they're in a lot of interior locations, everything looked really good and it was really clean, really crisp. Everything was just damn good. It was a really good 4K transfer. But because at the exterior locations, I just feel it let the film down as a whole on the 4K front. But, I mean, obviously, it is better in 4K because it is a dark film. So it really helps there. The HDR really sort of alleviates the picture in that sense. But overall, I was just a little disappointed at some of the exterior locations. It's like I say, it's more just the background when you're looking out and there's something in the distance. It just wasn't quite as clean as everything else. That seemed to have a bit of a grain to it. And I know Zack Snyder shoots a lot of his films with that sort of little bit of grain, a little bit of roughness to it, and it adds to it. Don't get me wrong, it adds to the effect. But then when you cut to another scene and it's really clean, it's sort of that difference. It just didn't balance very well for me. So I was a little disappointed by that. The sound on it was incredible. Absolutely amazing. The sound really sort of kicks. Turn it up and everything's just, the sound effects are coming from everywhere and it's really good. I was really impressed with the sound overall with this. And the soundtrack in this is really good. Now the soundtrack in the theatrical was done by Danny Elfman, who, I love Danny Elfman, don't get me wrong. He did the original Batman from 1989 and that's awesome. I love it. And he is ace. He's proper ace. But for this one, they got Junkie XL to come back, who actually scored Batman vs Superman alongside Zack Snyder as well. So the director decided to bring him back, and I do feel that the soundtrack in this is so much better. Everything sounds better. It's so much more iconic, and everything's different in it. So each sort of character's got a theme, and then each area's got a theme. When they fight, and it really captures it really, really well. So I was really impressed overall with the soundtrack, and the sound design on it is up there, and it is really good, and real clear audio as well. So when everybody's speaking, you can hear everything, even if there's like explosions and fights going on. The sort of the vocals are still spot on with it. So overall, the sound I was really impressed. But like I say, the visuals, was a little disappointed by some of them, not all of them, but overall I would recommend the 4K because it's the best you're going to get it, so obviously I would highly recommend it, but just disappointed with some of it. So guys, there we go. So to wrap it up, would I recommend Justice League on 4K? Hell yeah, I would. Yeah, man, it was ace. If you enjoyed the film, then by all means get it on the best version you can. And this 4K disc is really good. Some of the visuals, as I've said, do sort of dip a little bit. It's a little bit roller coastery in some of it, but overall it's really good. The picture's really clear when everybody's fighting. It's really good. Because of the 4K transfer, and it is really good. Some of the special effects sort of can look not quite as good as some of the other special effects. Now, Steppenwolf in this looks so much better than he did in the other one. His suit's incredible, and the 4K, I seem to notice a lot more sort of shimmer to it. Certain lighting effects hit it, and it gave off slightly different colours than I can remember seeing when I watched it streaming. So that was really good. But then, like some of the others, when Wonder Woman jumps over him near the end, the special effects it doesn't quite look like her. You can tell it's just a cartoon version of it, so that. But for how this film was crafted, because Zack Snyder had to come back and he's had to use like old footage and restore everything, I'll let him off. He's had a long road to get here, and I'm so happy that we've finally got here. And I'm really, really, really pleased that I've managed to get 4K, especially on a Steelbook, because I mean, oh my god, I love Steelbooks. And this is an awesome Steelbook. So I'm really happy with that. And I would highly recommend it if you guys haven't seen it because you may be disappointed by the 2017 version of it. Ignore that. That doesn't exist anymore. This is the only version of Justice League that anybody ever needs to watch ever again. It is awesome. I highly recommend it. If you did enjoy this video, guys, please drop me a like. Subscribe to the channel for more Ace content. Follow me on Instagram for any updates. And with that, guys, I'll catch you later.